Hey guys, welcome back to another Zamboni podcast. Logan Wescott here. Met a few months ago with Doug Peters on the road, and I've been doing travels across the country trying to replace the legendary Doug Peters, who's been in this position for 36 years, and doing that to make sure that everything goes smoothly and we have a nice transition. We brought on Brandon Radeke, who started with us April 1st. We're here as compliments to each other to try to fill some very large shoes in Doug Peters and just replace that experience. This guy's been doing it for so long that it's like breathing. It's second nature to him. I have a very large sales background. Brandon has a very large on ice and professional background in the industry. And as compliments to each other, we hope to keep this rolling and not miss a step. So Brandon, welcome to the team. Welcome to Zamboni.
Thanks, Logan.
Yeah.
It's been an adventure already for the first few months. It still feels like it's flown by, but it's been great. Being able to get out and see a lot of customers already. The travel's been good and getting around to a lot of conferences and trade shows and stuff like that already, and just enjoying the transition so far.
Awesome. Hey, Brandon, so just, again, introduce yourself to the people as far as kind of where you started and how you got all the way up to the NHL level with the Penguins, all the way here today, just the 30,000 foot overview.
Yeah, so I actually was driving a machine, probably younger than I should have been, but I was in a small town. I grew up in a small town in Minnesota called Mora, Minnesota. I was just working in the local rink because my dad helped build it, and just started working there and started driving a machine, I think around 15 years old. And that's where I cut my teeth on where I learned how to drive. Eventually, I graduated high school and decided to go to college. And during that time, the super rink in Blaine, Minnesota was being built. And I had a chance to jump on there part-time while I was going to college. And then when I graduated, I took on a full-time role as director of operations there. And then just kind of grew into that for 17 years. And by the time I left the National Sports Center, I was director of facilities for all of the buildings and the hockey rink itself. So during that time, the Minnesota Wild were starting in the year 2000. I was able to jump on with them part-time and basically work for them for 14 years and gained a lot of knowledge of the NHL side of it through Travis Larson and the crew there, and was able to do a couple outdoor games during that time. And then I was asked to see if I wanted to go out to Pittsburgh and help out in Pittsburgh and do a new position that they were thinking of. And what that position basically involved was overseeing. It was the first of its kind in the league. And it was a position where I didn't work for the building, I worked for the team, and I was the liaison to the building and the team, and getting the conditions the way the team wanted it or I wanted it, and then also overseeing the practice facility. Everything over at the practice facility is operations. So it was a unique position. Was fortunate enough to work for them for 10 years almost, 9.5 years, and then and get 2 Stanley Cup rings out of it. And then here I am today. I was approached by Zamboni to see if I wanted a career change, and I thought it was the right time, and everything's gone well so far. So it's been great. The transition's been fun, and learning all the new people and the customers. I do have a lot of contacts in the industry, but there's so many more that I don't know, and that's been the fun part, meeting all these new people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, it's a lot of fun, right? The ice skating industry always is. And when you say Zamboni, from little kids to big adults, right? People's faces light up and they want to be a part of it. That being said, I know you've purchased probably 30 plus machines in your career.
Not 30, but plus it was 20 some, I think, over the course of it. Still a lot, but yeah, with the super rink buying 8 at a time, that happened a couple times, and then it's around. I'd have to go look, but 25 machines over the years, and I just finished up my last order before I left. The Penguins received them, so those were four new 546s with all the bells and whistles, and it was a great decision to get those, and there's been a lot of machines gone through me, so.
So to go from that side of the business where you're purchasing to this side of the business where you're selling new ones, what's been the biggest transition when it's come to that?
I didn't realize all the details that go in behind the scenes. I think it was easy for me to pick up the phone and call Doug and say, "Hey, I need 4 machines, or I need this," and cut dry. And the stuff that goes on behind the scenes with all the awesome staff behind it to make all the production stuff work and all that. It's been amazing to see how a machine gets produced, and it's been great because these staff, or the staff in both factories, it's amazing to see. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know my biggest thing, again, you and I, are really complements to each other. We're dividing up the country and trying to take over the world here. But more than anything, your hands-on experience has been a big help and asset to me. What do you see as far as trends in the industry and issues that you've seen on the roads or corrective problems? Is there something that you've kind of seen as a trend that has surprised you or you kind of knew it was coming?
Yeah, I don't know if it's as much as well, it's definitely a trend. The industry is getting younger. A lot of the older crowd is starting to retire, and there's not a lot of new coming into it. And the younger staff, the experience is getting less and less. And with that, that means there needs to be more training. And I think that's what I'm starting to see is the need for training being requested by everybody, and to try and get their staff well trained, and all the components on these machines as well. It's just doing the training on it. And I think that's what I found fascinating about the boot camp program starting now in the States. It'll be great to get out and meet the new people into the industry and try and get them all on the same page of the proper way to do blade changes, the proper way to do your maintenance, your preventative maintenance, and all that stuff. And I think that's a big part that's I'm seeing and trending is there's going to be a lot more need for training of how many new people there's going to have to be coming into the industry.
Absolutely. I know the big thing is we have a ton of resources inside Zamboni ourselves, experience like yourself, Chris Fish on our team, Marty Elliott up in Canada as well. And they're doing a lot of these training videos and things of that sort. How much help and context do you think by viewing those videos before you ever enter a building, does that help give some just some knowledge and a little bit of background before you talk to somebody one-on-one?
Yeah, for sure. I reference those even while I'm doing a training. Like when we've done a couple level ice installs, like you still reference those and you bring them up in front of the group and say, hey, this is why we do this, and this is, and show them right there in front of them. I mean, those resources on the website are unbelievably valuable. They're a necessity now, and it's definitely a game changer when it comes to that.
Awesome. Yeah, you talked about you have 2 Stanley Cup rings working for the Penguins. Obviously, you've had some very cool experiences on ice. What's been your biggest challenge as far as some of the different facilities that you've had? I know you've done outdoor games, whether it's inside your building or an outdoor game. Was there a big challenge that you came across that people might be able to kind of relate to a little bit?
I mean, every day's, I didn't realize as much until I hit the NHL level of how much you have to be a weatherman. And that sounds goofy, but I watched the weather in great detail every day, how it was going to be on game day, just to see what the outside conditions are, because when those doors open, 18,000 people are bringing that condition into the building. So you're trying to always constantly get ahead of it, watch your humidity, watch your building temps, and you adjust from there what you can do to make the best sheet of ice. I mean, the other part is, off ice, or I should say, concert mode. And we go into we call it concert mode, but when we're covered, coming out of that in the short time frame sometimes of turnarounds and changeovers, that was always interesting to deal with too. But making ice in June for an NHL club that was probably the most stressful times of my career, for the Stanley Cup Finals in both years, 16 and 17, but it was probably the biggest learning experience I've ever had, and the best experience I've ever had. Obviously, it pays off when you win, but it was so crazy the things we had to do with. We were 95 degrees out, and Pittsburgh's not used to 95 degrees, and going into Game 5, and I remember that specifically, and the humidity was through the roof, but with a lot of talking back and forth with all the powers that be, we got through that game and actually came out really well. So it's amazing that just the experiences in the NHL are been crazy. The stuff you have to deal with. So
Awesome. Yeah, hey, I guess the biggest thing is like I said earlier, we're replacing a guy, and Doug Peters has been doing this for 36 years. We don't want to miss a step, and we want to continue to take everything in stride. In your couple of months with Doug, and obviously you're on the customer side with Doug as well, is there anything that you've taken away from him before he departs here in the next couple of weeks that you've kind of learned?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just in the short time I've been here on the backside of it, let's step to the front side. I mean, I have dealt with Doug since I've been in the industry, so almost 30 years since the beginning, and he was the guy I called for everything, and that's a guy that's hard to replace because he knew the answers and he knew everything. And on the backside now, working with him and seeing how he handles deals and talking with everybody and the confidence he has going about with the customers, it's something that I appreciate, and how I've been just trying to keep an open eye, and he's been a great leader to learn from, and it's been good.
Awesome. Well, hey, unless you have something else you want to share with somebody, I just want to do a quick introduction. Like I said, Brandon and I will be coming to a city or an arena near you. But with Brandon with a couple months under his belt and Doug departing, we just want to make sure that the world knows who Brandon Radeke is.
Thanks, Logan.